up and downs. You guys have had a pretty good week start here. Got a lot of Zergs doing pretty well, especially yesterday. But it's time for Group D now. I have Wolf with me as Kaldor. Let's get this started.
Today is going to be a very exciting group. This is probably one of the most stacked groups that we had in the up and down so far. It is going to be really exciting to see who comes out first and second. And of course, we have a wildcard spot. In case that you missed the last groups that we had here at the GSL up and downs, there has been a slight change to this up and down season. We now have a wildcard group on Friday, and the third place finishers of each group are going to participate in there, and we'll have another shot at Codes.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. It's on Friday even, so it's going to be a good Friday. And there's going to be 5 players in that group. It's going to be our only 5-player group, but the player who wins first place in that group will get the final Codes spot.
And the second to it as well. So
oh, really? Actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have 2 spots.
Wow.
Wolf being completely caught up here now, but we actually have 2 spots, and it's going to be a 5-player group. So far, a lot of Zerg players have been able to qualify for it, and right now things are getting pretty interesting, because every day now we have another player being added to this group, and then at the end we'll see who is going to be participating in it, who has another shot. And I feel this is probably going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Thinking about what we saw in the last few days, the games have been insane. We had such fierce competition for the Codes spots. Every season at the GSL is getting more intense, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, you know, if you look at the groups of up and downs we saw a year ago, they just didn't quite look the same. All the players you saw at up and downs a year ago don't even play in this league anymore. But now we have players who have been in Codes multiple seasons. We've got tournament winners from overseas.
Champions, talking about an ST tomorrow. We had MC earlier this week, so a lot of really good players are now participating in here.
Yeah, we have finalists like Hero in here as well.
The competition just got so much more intense in StarCraft 2. There are so many good players out there, and it's crazy thinking about how many people actually participate in Code S and in Code A, and still you have really amazing players down in Code B trying to struggle to find their way into Code A.
Imagine a player like Genius, the BlizzCon champion of years ago, and he's also a finalist himself. Then you've got players like we saw yesterday, Squirtle, a big favorite, or that was actually 2 days ago. We've actually had so many games in past days. I'm like, this is not my math this time, I swear. But
yesterday, no Squirtle, but when he played, it was inspiring.
It certainly was, man. That contained with the Blink Stalkers.
Yes, against Dream.
I actually went home and rewatched that VOD. It was so inspiring.
It was really good, and I have to admit that these players, a lot of them are showing such a great performance that it's just a peek at what we are going to see in this Codes season. But let's have a quick look at yesterday's results before we jump into today's group. We have Lucira advancing to Codes together with DRG. Lucira was so happy. We saw all these emotions in the booth when he finally claimed victory. And then, of course, first Byun, Symbol, and Grubby not able to get one of those spots, but Symbol at least able to participate in the wildcard group on Friday.
Yeah, and here's our race distribution so far. That's, of course, going to change today. We have 11 Terrans, 11 Zergs. Protoss is still being the weak link so far, but we do have 2 players, MC and Squirrel, to join them. As far as Terrans, we've had Yoda and Taja advance. Lucira and DRG, as you already mentioned, were yesterday's advancees. We've got a lot of Zergs in that third spot, the wildcard group, 3 of them already.
Yeah.
And we could have another one today. It's possible.
It's definitely possible. You can see that from each race, 2 players advance through the up and downs to Codes. We, of course, also have Stefano waiting there, the seat. And here's today's group. What a treat. Hero for Team Liquid. We have Byun for the Prime team. Startail with Bomber. Azubu Genius for LGIM. Byal is starting today, the only Zerg in the group. And for Woonjing Stars for Caspar, we have SOS, aka Shine. Crazy.
Yeah, look at those win rates. I mean, even though Biel has a below 50% win rate, he's been getting a lot better. And he's actually joined LGI, and we talked about this briefly yesterday. But here we have Hero up against Byun. And Hero is one of 2 Pross along with Genius that might be able to advance out of this group. Not only do we have no Pross advance yesterday, we had our new foreign hope, Grubby, actually go 0-5, really struggling.
Exactly. And, well, the new foreign hope is, of course, not the only foreigner. Tomorrow we will see Huck. He got a little bit disappointed yesterday when we were talking about Grubby. Of course, we didn't forget about you, Hero. We still love you, and we hope that you're doing well in your group tomorrow. Really looking forward to those games. So Huck probably watching his EGTL teammate here, watching Hero and having a good look at his strategies. He's been streaming a lot, preparing for his up and down group, and we're going to find out tomorrow how he's going to do. So all the best for these games. But let's focus a little bit on the group at hand.
Yeah, it's time for Hero versus Byun. The map is Daybreak, a very fair Protoss versus Terran map. the fairest map of all. Really, it's like the Snow White map of the GSL because this map is so balanced, so fair. Neither race has an advantage in any matchup.
And we are good to go. Hero versus Byun, kicking things off today at the GSL Up and Downs Group D. We are on Daybreak with the Protoss versus Terran. Let's not waste any time, Wolf. Let's jump right into the game. To the top right of Daybreak, our Protoss player starts in blue. It is for TeamLiquid.net.
Liquid
Hero. That was the Caldor Wolf version.
Even Street Fighter voice is a little bit intimidated by him.
Hero just making sure he's got a clean keyboard, clean hands, clean mind. He's up against the Prime player, once called himself Ghost King. We'll forget about those days and call him instead
Byun Prime.
normally a Xenex player back in the day.
You will also call him L.
Yeah.
He's a little bit weird in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. I like it.
Sometimes a bit awkward, but a very, very nice guy. And, well, Hero, of course, also being a really nice person. The thing about Hero is about Hero, I feel you can write essays. You can really talk about him for hours. He is such an amazing player. He's a great player. He did so well overseas. He's the NASL champion. He won DreamHack Winter. But every single time when he plays in Korea, there's this huge pressure on him. He mentioned it in interviews, and it's really visible when he plays at Pro League, when he plays at the GSL, at the GSTL, that every time he's in Korea, he feels an added pressure. He's getting nervous. And this showed last time when he faced Flash in Pro League. Hero is in Korea always running the risk of choking in the later stages of the game.
Yep.
And you never really know what you get. Do you get this stone cold killer hero that doesn't make any mistakes, that has been the bane of so many Terran players, taking down Tasia multiple times? Or will you see the Protoss player who suddenly feels a little bit insecure in the booth and his emotions get the better of him?
Exactly. That's always what you're wondering when it comes to Hero. Not to say he's inconsistent, but if in a group like this he starts to fall behind, he usually struggles to catch up, and you can really see it on his face when he takes a loss.
He wants to prove himself in Korea, and this is really important to him, and because of this importance, the emotions sometimes get the better of him, and he was devastated when he lost against Flash. You can really see it in the booth, as you said. And it's for him, I feel very, very important that he starts with a win in this group.
Yep.
If he starts with a win or two, then I guess everything is going to be fine. But with an early loss, I feel that might really play some tricks on him.
It really could. Something to consider, by the way, in this opening game is that Byun has hidden his factor. This is something that Hero does not know about. He doesn't know about gas, and he's taken a second gas. So we're probably going to see some sort of Cloak Banshee play out of him. Very rare to see a double gas like this without it. Probe tries to come in for a second pass, is denied. But this is something that you would expect from Byun, especially on a map like this. Byun loves his tech play, and sometimes he even goes into heavy siege tank with Marine on this map. We've seen it several times on this map and on Cloud Kingdom, but first things first, there's the Starport as well as the Tech Lab.
Byun is especially good against Protoss. If you look at all the games that he played in his professional StarCraft 2 career. A few months ago, he had a bit of a rough spot against Protoss, but in the recent past, he defeated opponents like Sang in Code A. He took down opponents as, for example, Trap, and also Parting in the last GSL season in the Up and Downs. So definitely a force to reckon with. And Hero, on the other hand, now starting his own Nexus, and he is pretty decent against Terran. He is one of those guys who is like taking down Terrans left, right, bottom, and center. I mentioned how he took down Tasia several times in the last year in a lot of the foreign tournaments, played him in the final. But now suddenly we have him with a loss against Flash in Pro League. That's the last Terran versus Protoss that he played, and let's see how he's going to do today.
He's pressuring here against Byun quite heavily, and the Zealot will fall, but with good Stalker Micro here, you can actually pick off a Marine or two. It just depends on how he uses those shields. He has to wait a minute. But this is always the problem that you risk when you're Byun if you're skipping that bunker. He doesn't know what's coming up, so he has to make it at this point. He has enough Marines at the top of the ramp that he doesn't necessarily need it, but he doesn't know if Hero is going for some sort of multiple gateway follow-up. Trying to break down the ramp here a little bit. Nice micro by Hero. The Cloak is underway. The Robo is on its way, but the most important part here, we've talked about this before, is does Hero rally the Observer, and does he start a second one? Because if he only makes one and rallies it across the map, if he doesn't see the Banshee coming, the Observer's not going to be at home and he's going to lose a lot of probes.
Sometimes you're just being caught with your pants down in a PvT as a Protoss player. If you don't have protection at all in your main base and that Banshee comes in, then you're really in a lot of trouble. And now we have the command center being started for Byun. He wants to be aggressive here, and because of his later expansion that he plays, he needs to do some damage. This is really essential. We have Hero already on 2 bases, so he can go for the double pro production, has the double chrono boost as a disposal, and you can see that he takes the lead in Harvesters. He's at 33 against 26. Which is quite significant and will only be increased over the next few minutes. So now Byun has to do some damage, and Cloak is going to finish when this Banshee starts to attack.
Yep, and it looks like the Observer is actually out just at the perfect time. He's going to turn it around right away. It's unfortunate for Byun in some ways, but he's already starting to rack up the kills here.
And trees. And he gets... Whoa, that was close. Hero nearly losing one of his sentries. In the last second, he pulls it back. Good job.
Really nice micro there. The Stalkers will actually be cleaned up here since there's no Observer nearby. He actually will save, it looks like, at least one of them. Maybe 2. That's not how he micros that. But we have now a 3rd command center going up for Byun and double eBay, so he's not going to go into that siege tank composition that we've seen from him so often. He's also making a Raven.
Yeah, he's starting the upgrades here really early, and with the Raven he will be able to shut down any scouting from Hero. If he has a few units around, take down the Observer as soon as he spots it. And at this point in time, Hero, he lost a few Harvesters, but he has still the Harvester lead. This is always what you want against a Terran player, because you have to make up for the difference in mineral mining caused by the mules. He's still going for the double pro production and is hitting them very, very well, and is taking a very significant lead in Harvesters. He's already at 42 against 32 Harvesters.
Yeah, and when you look at that number alone, it really goes to show that the Cloak research for Byun just really didn't pay off as much as he would have liked it to. This is something that may come into play a little bit later, especially with that Raven out. If he snipes the Observer, he can take some engagements that Hero doesn't want to face. Oftentimes when you're a Frost and you attack into someone who has 2 or 3 Cloak Banshees and you lose your Observer because you just fly too close to the Raven, then you have to consider whether you want to attack or not, because you're going to lose too many units to the Banshee. Yep. You actually have barracks being added here, and the Observer is going to see everything.
Especially that mining from 2 mineral lines of it did very much for Hero, and he's currently taking a supply lead. But we have still the Banshee in the vicinity of the Hero's main base, trying to pick up a few of the gas probes, doing a decent amount of damage here. 3 kills on that Banshee so far, 2 on the other one. Yep. So 5 in total.
It's okay for Byun as long as he just continues to put that pressure on, keep Hero in his base, because he has a 3rd command center, and that's something that Hero did see. So he will be able to decide his next move really easily. He's got a few different choices. He can take a 3rd Nexus, as he knows Byun's actual ground army is not going to be strong enough to pressure him right away, or he can try to put some pressure on of his own with his first 2 Colossi as he gets his upgrades out. Byun significantly ahead in upgrades though with those faster eBays. Hero can catch up with Chrono Boost, but he's going to be behind for a while.
Yeah, it depends all on how meticulous Byun is about his upgrade policy. We have him already with the armory on the production tab, so he should be able to go into +2/+2 fairly soon. It doesn't line up perfectly, but he's not going to lose too much time if he starts those upgrades immediately when the armory finishes.
Exactly.
And now we also have the Medivacs out for him, so he can't start with his drop play, but Hero is ready for it. He has his own Stalkers in the main base. He's just waiting for this Medivac to appear and take it down.
And he wants to, he just wants to catch it if he can. Cannon goes down as well. This is
also the 3rd base now for Hero being built.
This is the time where he wants to take that 3rd, because he's already built up his Colossi count. His upgrades are coming up nicely. There's the Twilight coming down as well. He's got Observer actually chasing down that Banshee, so the Banshee's not going to be able to escape.
Base is under attack.
Meanwhile, we have that Scouting Factory under attack. Don't be fooled. No base is really under attack. That's just the factory. They're playing cards. Their card game got interrupted.
Yeah, the factory driver getting a little bit lazy here. Extended thermal lands now being researched, as mentioned. We have +1/+1 for Hero nearly completed. And Byun actually was a little bit lazy with the 2nd wave of upgrades here. He's just started a +2 attack upgrade. You can really see how Hero is able to catch up. It's of course really important that he starts his own 2nd wave of upgrades very soon. But so far, let's see what happens in the main base here.
This is such a cool specific drop where he's got the Raven for point defense from to stop Stalkers. Then he's got the Raven to also help pick off the Observer if he wants to, so the Banshee can do extra damage. The Cloak Banshee is here as well.
He's trying to snipe the Robotic Spay. He's trying to make sure that there is no more upgrade. Extended thermal lance is not gonna go to the finish. This is awesome by Byun. He was having a few units down at the natural. They were shut out immediately, but at the same time, this job did a lot. He needs to try to save the birth. No. not working. The medivac is down, but now he can even try to snipe the Nexus.
Yeah, he tries to snipe Nexus here at the third. It looks like
gonna be close.
Should be able to save it.
That's going to be really close.
Oh wow, he goes in for another drop here. This is actually maybe a bit overzealous, but he's going to keep the attention away. The Zealots chase those units away at the third, but the point defense drone is actually enough to push this back.
Yeah, the point defense drone really paying off here, and the Banshee landing a little bit of extra damage. Suddenly another Stalker dies, and he gets out with his Banshee. Really well played here by Byun, and he makes sure that the supply is now tight between the two of them. Both of them with 3 bases. Byun just not able to snipe this Nexus at the third.
Yeah, had he gone in a little bit earlier, I feel he would have been able to get it. We saw that weird stim where he kind of stemmed his units over to the 4th base area, and it looks like he may have just misrallied there, because I think if he had gone right away while he was dropping in the main, Hero would not have been able to hold the Nexus there.
And Hero did never forget about the upgrades, and now suddenly if you compare the 2 upgrade advances on the production tab, you can really see with the progress that they are nearly even. A slight lead for Byun here, who now has to deal with Zealots that Hero sent over to the 3rd base.
Yeah, it looks like they're not going to do too much damage here. He damages a few SCVs, keeps Byun on his toes, but he did force a stim actually out of Byun, so if you consider that, it works out okay. That Nexus is still low on hit points, by the way, as well, so he could maybe try to snipe that, because he's got a few units to the bottom right.
And we have the Viking upgrade now, the +1 also on the production tab, so Byun is already preparing for Colossi. He saw, of course, earlier this robotics bay. He sniped it, no extended thermal lance, but he knows that the original plan for Hero was to play a Colossus composition. Hero switches things up now. He goes into Storm and is researching the upgrade, while Byun is going for a catch-all build and adds his own Ghost Academy to lend EMPs as another additional point of strength to his own army to deal with the High Templars and even the Starport. So he is prepared for all eventualities.
Yeah, you're right. So I need to consider with Byun's army composition, he's heavy Marauder, he has more Marauders than he has Marines, and he's trying to switch over to get a little bit more Marines in his composition, because you have to have a pretty good ratio. But that's something that may come into play when he fights. If he fights here with this heavy Marauder composition with +1 on those Vikings, the Marauders, if they can close the gap on those Colossi, are going to have a field day.
And the Marauders will soon have +3/+3. The upgrades immediately started. Byun very focused here on his upgrade policy. 3 Colossi, that's what Hero's relying on to now.
Oh, if he could force steal these units out, it would be great. Does not quite get it off, though.
And Storm is nearly completed.
Yeah, Storm is almost done. Does he have any High Templar in that army? I don't see any just yet. Looks like they're actually warped in at his bases so that he can defend against potential drops later on, because he knows that he wouldn't have enough energy trying to walk across the map with these.
You know, really often in Terran vs Protoss, we see that the drop play of the Terran player doesn't do as much as you'd think. You see him drop everywhere, and it looks pretty cool that Protoss has to defend in the main base, has to defend in the third, the Terran player is being quite the nuisance. But if you later on then just look at the state of the game, you realize that even though the Terran player did some damage, he did not do enough to get ahead in the game. But in this particular match, we have Byun, nice snipe here on the War Prism. But yeah, coming back to that point, Byun actually equalizing the situation again, because Hero got an early lead in this game, and this drop play really paid off for the Prime player.
Yeah, it really showed, because killing that robotic support bay limited the Colossus count initially. Right now it's at 3, but it could have been even better. You can see that there's a slight attack at the 3rd base, but Byun wants to take this fight. He's trying to position his Vikings to snipe Colossi, but he actually leaves them out in the open a little bit here while he turns the rest of his Bioforce around. He's struggling a little bit to deal with this multi-pronged aggression from Hero.
Yeah, Hero tries to be really, really annoying here. Still has those Colossi around, and we still don't have extended thermal lance for the Colossi.
Yeah, he didn't make a single additional Colossi since his Bay died.
Yeah, he's now getting the robotic space, so he... You know, I actually don't exactly know if he realized earlier that the upgrade was not done yet. If he just was like, okay, well, you killed the robotic spay, I can't build any Colossi, but I have 3, so it's fine for now. But now he has to deal with this, and he's getting his spay back up. He wants to have extended thermal lance. At the same time, now the Guardian Shield being used as Byun is getting a little bit more aggressive, trying to get into a good position with the Templars and also with his Ghost.
Zealots AI bugging out here a little bit is the bunker positioning is actually perfect right next to those command centers. I have to say, I'm really impressed with Hero's unit positioning. Notice that in that fight, he dropped the Storm defensively. Yeah, he lost a few of his Templar, but he has Colossi so far away so the Vikings couldn't snipe, and I think that's partially due to him knowing they didn't have the range. He does not want to have his Colossi too close to where the Vikings could be.
And I meant earlier, of course, that he is trying to position his Vikings and his Ghosts, not his Templars and his Ghosts. He wishes that he had both of them. That would be quite awesome.
That would be pretty good. If the replicant happened, I guess a Protoss player could have had that in his composition, but that did not make it to the beta.
Not really. Right now we have +3/+3 done for Byun. Hero is about to complete his own third upgrades. Also the +2 attack upgrade for the Vikings. You can really see that Byun is trying to prepare for his next attack. He's on 4 bases now, as is Hero. Both of them are. Hero now with the bank that he's starting to build up adds more gateways. This is really, really important. You want to have this production. The best bank in the world doesn't help you at all if you don't have the correct amount of gateways.
That's true.
And right now, adding 4 of them, going into the shield upgrade, this is going to go into a very, very late game scenario, and it's going to be all about the positioning, all about the micro and the fight.
These zealots will be cleaned up. Something to consider is that Hero's 4th base is not the normal 4th base you would see. It's the one at the bottom right. Nice storm here, but he is denied. It was a good attempt though, it really was.
Yeah. Gets a feedback off, but the feedback does not kill the ghost, and the snipes take out the High Templars.
But when you consider that 4th base I was mentioning, if he takes a 5th, the 5th is going to be easier to take than the 4th he's already taken. So if he can hold this 4th that Byun could have easily harassed since it's so far away, I think that, you know, this base should be a lot easier to defend, and Byun is going to have a harder time moving forward. Ooh, look at that dark shrine!
Uh-oh, he sends another warp prism in, but it's already detected by the sensor turret, and I'm not quite sure if that was the best choice. He must have realized that there is a sensor turret, but he sends it in anyways, and now it's going to die. Those zealots stand no chance, and not the best choice here by Hero. He was gambling on the fact that Byun might not have a unit over there to deal with it, but with the sensor turret, no problem for the Terran player to snipe the warp prism.
Sensor turret that he just finished in the middle of the map also helps him clean up these zealots, and he's got the perfect composition here to engage Hero. He's on 30 supply. Hero though with a very nice blink forward. That was exactly what he needed to actually stop Byun in his tracks.
What an intense opening for this up and down group, Will.
This is pretty crazy. He's got so many ghosts in total right now. He has 18, and he called himself the Ghost King for a reason, but with this many ghosts, as well as 13 Vikings, his ground army has so much support that the heavy tier units, those High Temple, those Colossi of Hero, are not going to be able to fight like they want to.
Hero is adding a Dark Shrine now, and with the Dark Shrine he can do a lot. Not only can he get Archons to a different price ratio as with the High Templars, but he can always send them over to the Naturals, trying to force a few of his opponents. Yeah, well, scans, not being able to get the mules out. But here comes our first fight, and once again a nice dodge on the Storm here, really well executed by Byun, getting a shot off at his opponent's Colossi.
Look at the resource loss, 9,200 to 3,900. That's more for Hero. Why? Is because he keeps doing this. He keeps warping in Zealots to run over here. But so far, his attacks have been relatively unsuccessful. Byun is actually so good at shutting these down. Plus, he has the watchtowers, or rather the sensor towers. He has a watchtower as well.
Yeah. And one of the things that you try to do with these run-bys is you try to get your opponent out of position. But he does not really work for Hero just yet. Now we have those DTs in the mix, and this is a different story. There's the main battle, a nice stall to make sure that the Vikings can't follow. Very, very defensive, a blink forward trying to pick off at least the Raven. Not too successful though, and still we have the DTs on the run getting into the natural now.
Yeah, they skipped the planetary where there was no turret because he knew that that's where the army was, so it would only take a scan. He actually sneaks around and finds the weak spot here, which is in fact the natural. And even though it's almost mined out, it's still a small victory to be able to do this. This Warp Prism with 4 Zealots, 25 hit points left, escapes. The DTs are actually doing a lot of damage here. This actually forces Byun back, and this allows Hero more time to spend his bank. We talked about how many gateways he was adding. He really still needed more warp gates so he could spend all of his money. He hasn't spent it all yet.
And now he's adding additional 2 robotics facilities. He can go for a triple Colossus production. And finally, this extended therm lance upgrade completing. Took him a long time to get that he didn't have it. I feel by now we can safely say that he assumed he had this upgrade already completed.
I think so.
The robotics bay was completed a long time ago, and if he would have known, he would have started it because of the bank that he had.
Byun looking really strong dominantly on the map right now, but with all these production facilities Hero's adding, and he may surprise him. Right now the Viking count is still at 14.
I want to quickly catch on to that extended therm lance upgrade again, because what we really saw here is Hero realizing that he was missing it before there was a huge engagement. We had a lot of players forgetting important upgrades and losing the game because of it. One of the matches that comes to mind was on Daybreak, was Parting versus Violet, where Violet showed us in the last few seconds of the game that he forgot Pathogen Glands for his Infestors, and this kind of lost him the game, and Hero could have been in a very similar position, but he sees the upgrade, goes for it, adds now the 3rd shield upgrade too, and we already have him with a Stargate coming up.
Go into Mothership
exactly,
here.
He wants to get a Mothership now.
Look at all the ghosts. It's Ghost King, and that Templar can take them out with one shot with all of their energy, but you know, how many ghosts can he really kill? If he kills half of them, it's almost like something from Watchmen, man. If you kill all those nuclear missiles, the 1% that gets through that one EMP that hits your your High Templar, man, it's gonna knock out your Storms. So you got to make sure you can zone out those ghosts, even with Colossi, if possible. There's so many Vikings. Byun has the perfect composition here, I have to say, and this is making it very difficult for Hero to engage, but he does not miss a second with those Storms.
You know, the same is true for Byun. Oh, nice EMP and snipe, and now he finally is able to get up on that high ground. That was something that Hero successfully shut out the entire time. He was able to make sure that with those Stalkers, he could do some damage, blinked back, and then stormed as soon as Byun tried to approach the high ground. And we look at how many command centers we have. Legend just pointed it out. It is crazy. He can rely on mules so heavily. He can even sack more harvesters if he wants to. And now he's going into the nukes, which is really, really smart. He has the resources to pull this off anyway. Just look at the bank for both players. And with this much minerals, this much gas and minerals, he can now go for a lot of nukes and be very positional about them.
Yeah, in total he has actually 12 command centers, 2 of them building right now. But you know, something to consider here as well is the worker count. It's 51 to 74, and that's better for Byun because he has all these mules and
yeah,
good storms on these ghosts. Hero is always able to hold the high ground, and that makes it very difficult for Byun. Is he killing his own Marauders? I think he did, yeah. He's starting to kill a few of those to free up some supply so we can get more nukes.
He could really go and sack a few more SCVs if he wanted to, but he builds 5 more ghosts now, whereas Hero starts to go into the attack upgrades for his air units.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to be for a mothership necessarily.
Not really.
We may see some sort of weird carrier transition eventually, but it's always good to have that upgrade when you have this much money, when you might want to make a switch later.
Talking about money, the longer this game drags on, the more important the 2 bases in the middle of the map are going to become. So when they are running out of mineral patches to the left and right side of the map, we will see this going to be very important. And look at this. Look how awesome these 2 are dancing around each other, just trying to poke a little bit. The EMP is always coming in. And with this many ghosts, he can sacrifice a few of them. The energy is not that much important. 26 ghosts, 3 nukes, another EMP hits home. The snipe follows suit. The Templar taking out both of them, just waiting for the opportunity to take the opponent down.
This one Raven for Byun is actually the hero unit. It's the MVP of this game. A Colossus drop was shut down. That was actually a Colossus in there. But this Raven has done so much with that point defense drone, with the drops, with these attacks, with the zoning. Look at that. Just look at how useful that is, actually. Just having one Raven, and here's the mothership for Hero. I think that's why he went for that Colossus drop, so he could free up the supply. Resources lost is incredible. Right now, it is 16,350 for Hero versus Byun's 7,000. That's over double the resources lost for Hero.
2 additional Stargates. He wants to go into Carrier's late game. He gets the +2 attack upgrade. A nice storm on these ghosts. Hits home finally. Another volley by the Vikings takes out the Colossus. The storm damages the air units, but they retreat in time. Not a single one of them dies.
I feel like the middle of this game towards when we start getting towards this late was in the advantage of Byun. He seemed to have the better map control. He seemed to take the better engagements. Now, the way Hero controls these areas, like with these cans on the high ground where nukes are not going to be able to be used, where he's got these stalkers and the storms on the high ground, Byun needs to go around. He needs to find a different angle of attack, because if he keeps fighting at this location in particular, I don't think he's really going to be able to gain any ground.
I'm surprised that Byun did not use his nukes at all. We didn't see a single one, and he could try to take out these cannons on the high ground, or at least lure his opponent into a position. But he wants to save them up for later. Gets now more production facilities. With all this money that both players have, they need to make sure that after the fight they can reinforce immediately.
Yeah, I'd like to see Byun go to the top of the map and go around that side, where his opponent might not be able to see him.
He has 28 ghosts.
Yeah, and he's adding more barracks right now. He wants to be able to remax if a fight occurs. He already has +3 for his Vikings finishing up here, so he's got a slight lead in air weapons.
Those 3 are, well, looking a little bit silly right now. Guys, what are you doing? What is that? That's the breakdance Colossus, and the Legend is dancing as well.
Oh, that was a...
They are still stuck?
That's what you like to call a pathing problem.
Guys, it's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. Oh man, this is such an intense game. We're at the 33-minute mark here, and Byun is just not going to go around. He's decided. I guess he hasn't even considered the option.
Hero pulls the 3 Colossi back and is like, "You guys are so stupid."
Yeah, how many times have I told you guys?
Around the cliff.
Yeah, around the cliff, not through it. Don't get your foot stuck in the barrel.
Planetary Forge is now being used by Byun to stop the onslaught of Hero, but the Protoss player is trying to get into position. Another run by to the top left. The Storm is good, takes down a few SCVs and mules. Here comes the army to defend. The Planetary is still alive thanks to the SCVs repairing, and he saves it.
Hero spends a lot of resources on that. I mean, with all the resources he has, it's not as significant. Watch that production tab in a second go crazy. He starts 3 carriers immediately, plus 3 ship weapons, 5 carriers.
But a big problem is that we already have 22 Vikings.
2 more. I'm going to check and see if he's actually seen the fleet beacon tech. He has not seen the additional Stargates. I'm looking everywhere right now.
He scanned. He just scanned it.
Saw it.
He just had a scan. Now he knows what's coming. He's moving in. He's trying to chase his opponent down here, but he knows exactly what's going on. He already has the +3 attack upgrade for his Vikings. This is such a cool game.
I feel the advantage heavily goes to Byun competition-wise because of those carriers, though. He's starting to pick up more and more of Hero's units. So Hero's gas is something that he doesn't have the bank of that Byun does. Byun right now, his ghost count went up to 30. He probably should stop making those. He's going to want more Marauders, actually.
Good Storm here, but not good enough. Doesn't take down any units. Sensor turrets everywhere.
Armor started for Byun's air units. And here we go. He's starting to EMP his way through these cannons. And he could try to nuke.
He doesn't use the nukes just yet, but he tries to take down these cannons. Can't really do it. The Storms force him back. Sensor towers everywhere, making sure that whatever happens, Byun is in the know. We even have armor upgrades now being researched for the Vikings because Byun knows exactly that with the heavy carrier transition of Hero, he needs to focus a little bit more on the air units.
You know, I'm going to check and see if he's repairing right now because he's... Yeah, he is actually repairing with just a few SCVs because Storms are weakening his Vikings. When we have carriers versus Vikings, if there's Storm support with the DPS of those carriers, it's so hard to actually micro your Vikings. So they might shoot at some interceptors. You got to make sure you target. But if there's Storms there, you can't keep your Vikings in one place. It gets very difficult. And we're going to see that happen as this game goes longer. Right now, the carrier count at 5, going up to the 6th one. Now, Heroes actually have to throw away some of his units in order to make more.
Hero is so smart building cannons everywhere because he can avoid the nukes. This is really important, and now we have another Planetary being built.
We may see some nukes here while he tries to defend this base.
These are these bases in the middle of the map that we talked about earlier, where you have to be really, really careful. The mineral mines to the left and to the right side of the map, the mineral lines are nearly depleted, so now they have to move into the middle of the map, and these are the only 2 bases that are left.
Yeah.
This is exactly why Byun tries to get into the position, gets those 2 Planetaries, he has enough mules, and the nuke, you're right, he could use the nukes to buy himself a bit more time and wait for this Planetary to finish, but the Vikings turn out to be enough.
You know what's interesting to me is Hero started his 2nd Cybernetics Core after his +3 was basically finished for his air weapons. Now he's only researching 1 at a time, but could have done that a little bit earlier. Good Storms here by Hero. He really wants to damage the Vikings and Ghosts as much as possible. Oh, good shots on those Ghosts. That's really important. He eats another Storm. Byun cannot afford to take this many hits when the carriers roll in.
Oh, a lot of the Ghosts are dead. He replenishes this army in 5 additional ones. But very important now is that the Vikings are not only necessary to take down these Colossi, but they are really important to deal with those carriers.
Yeah.
The Viking count at this point is still at 22, even though Byun knows what's going on. He only replenishes his army with 9 Ghosts, no additional Vikings for him.
I actually like this choice because with the amount of Vikings he has and with the upgrades he has, if he EMPs the carriers, the carriers are going to die so fast. He doesn't need to have too many more Vikings because with all the minerals, Hero has, imagine a situation where he has like 30 or 35 Vikings and the carriers die instantly. The Hero remaxes with like 20 Stalkers instantly, and then that's not a situation going into. So I really like the ratio he's building.
That's so right. This is exactly what he has to watch out for, and he's already taking down Colossi 1, 2, and 3. The happy threesome that we had earlier is now dead.
Yeah, they're all just pieces on the ground, unfortunately. They were so cute together when they were young, but now they're just scrap to be salvaged. They're going to be destructible debris one day.
Dustin Brother is already collecting.
Yeah, he's already collecting. This pylon will go down, of course, to make room for Hero's Nexus. He actually accidentally blocked it. And he's killing more of his own Marauders, realizing those become less and less important as the composition becomes more and more air-oriented as the Colossi go down.
He's getting 5 additional carriers finishing up now. That is 11 for him then. We have the next armor upgrade, double Colossus production, armor upgrades for Byun. Both of them just going all out now with what they have. And Byun sacked a few additional SCVs. Hero also lost a couple of probes that he never really rebuilt. And this is very, very important. Army supply, let's have a quick look. 155 for Byun and 137 for his opponent.
Yeah. Mineral bank I was just saying the mineral bank goes to Hero and the gas bank goes to Byun right now.
And in the main base, we have now a lot of probes not gonna do anything. They are just sitting there for Hero, so he needs to either send them to work or just get rid of them.
Something to consider with the carriers is their interceptor counts and how that can change it. So that's something I'm going to be taking a very big look at as we go into these fights.
And here come those probes that he sacks. We just talked about it. He needs to free up some supply so that he can max out with army supply.
Very true.
More and more cannons for him. I really like this decision by Hero to get this many cannons. It helps him so much against the ghosts.
It protects his carriers as well as the Vikings try to come in.
The pain train is coming. Didn't deal out too much pain though.
Something we haven't talked about too much is the mothership. Here comes the first nuke. But when the mothership comes into play, oh, this is actually a beautiful position here.
This is this brilliant position that you always have on Daybreak, where you can nuke your opponent's mid-base from your own main.
Oh, wow, the probes come over at the worst possible time.
Bam! Ouch, that hurt. That was really good.
Hero is now down to 13 probes.
What Hero is going to have to endure now is a Terran player that will constantly nuke this position to deny mining. And Byun can afford it. There it is, next nuke.
Yeah.
And more Vikings now for him. He's going up to 30.
Something to consider with the same position on the Hero's base is he could find himself nuked from the base that Byun is mining from. And a pylon will go down, no cancel. It costs him money to do this, but Hero needs money. He's actually starting to get low on gas.
Yeah, for late game scenario, this is a low gas count.
Yeah.
Usually we would be like, oh my god, he doesn't hit his macro correctly, he has 1,700, but at this scenario I think we can let it slide. At 100, nearly a maxed out army, and him on 7,000 minerals, that is...
This is the kind of situation that puts a late game Protoss on tilt. It's so hard to attack because there's so many planetaries. He tries to find openings, he's losing his Stalkers here, his Colossi are vulnerable.
He's completely remodeling his army. He is now at 170 supply, and not because he's macroing bad or anything. No, it's because he's changing his army composition. He doesn't want to have gateway units anymore. That's the second wave that will come in later, after the fight. For now, he wants to have a high Colossus count in composition with all those carriers. We have him on 5 Colossi, 11 carriers, 12 High Templars. This is him just reworking his army composition.
Now with, we've seen this in StarCraft 1 with carriers. With this amount of carriers, and since Byun knows about it, he could be using these carriers more. He could try to go pick that ghost off with a carrier right now, and then fly them away and start picking off those turrets. But he's a little bit scared about the Vikings, something that you don't see in StarCraft 1. And I think that if he keeps his High Templar near his carriers, he could actually start using the carriers to annoy the main base, then fly back to the cannons and High Templar and repeat the process, and eventually stop this harassment. This is actually nuclear harassment that we're seeing here. Finally he does it. He sends his carriers over. He's had enough.
The carriers move into the nuke.
He turns back, though. He realizes he can't get there fast enough, and that Observer is out of luck.
The Observer trying to run away, realized the last second what he was observing. Didn't help him.
Ghost EMPs himself. I wonder what was up with that. So he can't be feedback. Oh, that's so smart. He EMPs his own Ghost. Okay, that makes sense. 2 probes will die here. Yeah. He just needs to get those carriers over there. They're not that slow.
You know, where's the mothership, by the way? I mean, he can always use it for a recall, but where exactly is it? I haven't seen the mothership in an eternity.
Okay, it's at the center base for Hero, which is totally mined out at this point.
Here comes the first fight. It's Vikings versus carriers. He can't win that without the ghosts. Without the High Templars for the EMPs.
Exactly, and this is what I was a little bit worried about.
High Templars for the storms. Caldor, more coffee.
I was a bit worried that, you know, this would happen, but he needed to attack the Ghost earlier. Now he gave Byun enough time to realize, oh, you're going to bring your carriers over here, I'll just bring my Vikings over here, and you're just not going to mine from this base.
Hero has to build something.
He's going for a counterattack now.
Yeah, but he's at 160 supply. Why doesn't he build anything at all? It's not like he's in cooldown with his gates. He could use something.
He's trying to decide, I think, what should I build next. He may try to do that remax the Stalkers that I was talking about earlier after the Vikings kill all of his carriers.
He's just falling so far behind in army supply. He has to be really careful. The mothership is now also in place.
Good Vortex here, but he doesn't have Archons. Not a single one, as far as I know. None.
9 Vikings are being built. Byun has to be really careful that he doesn't fall into this trap that you were talking about earlier. He will be on 43 Vikings, and then if he suddenly kills all the units and Hero remaxes with gateway units, those Vikings won't do a lot.
Exactly. Marines eating a storm here. He actually doesn't have very many medevacs at all. They have good energy, but there's not very many of them, so it's not going to last too long.
Look at the difference in army supply, highlighted by Legend with 180 against 120. Nice mules for the repair. But the big problem really, he does not build any army units. He still has a 50 supply freed up, goes for a few Archons now. But it's not really a lot that he can use here.
That nuke just goes somewhere else, I guess. I saw that shadow.
Yeah, I was wondering what was up with that.
Yeah, this base cannot really be mined for, except for one probe that's mining gas, which might die to the nuke depending on whether it's in the simulator. Lucky probe.
Yeah.
And
you know, that's like Indiana Jones jumping into the fridge.
Yeah, exactly.
The nuke jumps into the assimilator.
I was thinking the same thing. I was actually about to say that. You and I are on the same page, man.
Oh, this one is much better.
Oh yeah, and he's going to need to pull those probes away. He realizes he has to mine for a little bit. He actually just has to micro his probes against these nukes.
And the Observer has a death wish, but this time gets away. But this is this constant nuking, and Byun can afford it, and he denies mining for his opponent.
He needs to EMP his ghost. Ah, the Templar looks like it just barely can't reach.
And the Observer also away. This is just this dance between the two of them, trying to take down the ghost at the same time the nuke's coming in and attempting to kill a few probes.
Yep. This base actually still has most of its minerals at it. Most of these mineral patches at like 1450 each. So the Colossus now is going to deny the ghost finally, and the Vikings are actually going to be forced to react. So how is he going to deal with this? He's going to try to storm. He's got 2 storms available on that Templar. This is such a funny, awesome situation that we're having here on Daybreak. This is the most pivotal place, the point of engagement that we've never really seen before. EMPs his own ghost once more, and the Colossus falls.
Nice snipe here by Byun. You know, the only reason that I can come up with why Hero is not building anything is that he really is in a position now where he's like, okay, I don't have mining going on anymore, I don't have any gas that I can mine, so at this point I have to be really careful about what I build, and is trying to wait a little bit longer, because if he maxes out now, his gas will be gone, and then he can't just remax when the fight actually happens.
Oh, so many probes are down there and some cannons as well.
That was a brilliant double nuke.
Hero has 23 gateways, by the way, I just counted them, so that's how many warp-ins he has available as soon as he decides to warp in something.
You can really see that he does not get any gas. The mining for both of them is nearly done. The gas is 140 per minute, and here comes Byun again, running into that storm. He can go for the nukes once more, and he's already researching them. Here comes another nuke, and now he's starting to damage the Nexus.
This may be the first time I see an entirely mined out map in StarCraft 2.
He once again EMP'd his own ghost to make sure that the High Templar can't feed back. Here comes the nuke, damages the Nexus, and takes down the assimilator. Hero is gonna be low on gas. He cannot completely max out. This is the only 1,700 gas that he has, and he has to make a wise choice of what to do with it.
Yep. Tries to get a feedback here, not so successful. The storm goes down. He wants to get a vortex, but the mothership is so dead if Byun wants it. EMPs the mothership.
Nice. That was really well done. Now no energy for the mothership, and if those Vikings get one shot, the mothership is doomed. Double nuke once again. He moves in even with his fire army. Another EMP hits the High Templar. No chance. And these cannons, they are goners. No chance to save them, and the Nexus is really heavily damaged now. Boom.
Yep, double nuke finishes the Nexus. Hero may actually have to type out here because he's going to have one round of warp-ins to figure out what he wants to do, but he's now so low on mining, and Byun will actually take this base in a few seconds and start dropping probably like 30 mules on it.
Hero has to make a decision and take a fight. He needs to win a fight. If he plays this game, and if this is Byun's game at this point,
yes.
Byun is the one who pressures him. Byun is the one who plays this annoying style. And if Hero plays Byun's game, then he has a very high chance of losing this, because the patience of Hero is really taking him into a very, very disadvantageous position.
Absolutely, and just look at the supply of Hero. He warped in a few more units, but his composition is just a little bit awkward. He doesn't really have enough of anything to be able to deal with what Byun has made. Byun has made the perfect army. Literally. There's no weak points to his army. He's adding a few more Marines because he has a few freed up supply. Hero is trying to long distance mine from this base. That's how desperate he is. We may have a mined out map.
We may. Another nuke goes down, making sure that there's no long distance mining. I think he thought there was a Nexus being built again.
He's just trying to blow up the crystals so that Hero can't mine it from him later.
If he could, he would.
Uh-oh, those probes. Hero is pretty low on probes, down to 13.
7 SCVs, by the way. That's all that Byun has. We might have players. Byun has 192 army supply. And Hero is 180. The army supply is a little bit crazy for those two guys. This is insane. This is going to be one epic battle when Hero finally decides to take the fight. And he maxed out in supply. He made his choice now. He realizes that he can't play this game for another 10 minutes. He has to do something. Maxed out his army. He's down to 450 gas. He has no gas mining anymore. This is his stand. He can only remax with the Zealots.
Yep, there's no way he's going to be able to retake that Nexus either. And even if he tried to, Byun would stop him. He has 3 Archons. He does not have enough energy, as far as I can see, on the mothership for a Vortex.
Hero has to crush him. He has to crush him with the next fight. If he doesn't, it's most likely going to be Byun's game.
Yep, Byun can remax, or he can do whatever he wants. He could actually make 8 more nuclear silos right now and just start dropping nukes everywhere and hope that Hero doesn't kill all his ghosts before one goes off.
This is such an annoying style for Hero to face now. This must be so annoying for him.
That is the 19th nuke called down this game. And these probes are actually, they might eat it. Well, they're going to die to Marines anyways.
He kills his own Marines with a nuke. Nukes again. And Hero, he needs to take a fight. 180 supply against 195. Hero is moving in now with those carriers. There are a lot of missile turrets. And here come the Vikings.
Starts to take out a planetary, and he will get away, but that's actually going to start to deplete his minerals. The interceptors he has to make.
Nope.
And here we go. The Vikings go for the chase here. I think he has too many.
He needs a Vortex at some point. Hero at some point needs a good Vortex to make sure that his air units are going to survive.
He has 170 energy on his mothership right now, but the mothership is not with his units.
He has 38 ghosts.
38. He also has 40 Vikings. He has no Marauders, in fact, and 5 medevacs. We could actually see nuke drops into the main. He could drop in the main and drop 5 nukes there.
The army supply for both of them is getting completely out of control. Beyond the one with the better bank, of course. His gas count is up at 4,500. And here comes the Terran play. Is he going to take this fight? No, not just yet. He EMPs again, hits those EMPs well, but the storms for Hero prevent him from further engaging. But Byun wants to have this position. He wants to go for double planetary.
He does, and he will actually get the space. He's got it. Hero looks like he doesn't know what to do, and if I were in his position, I wouldn't be able to figure it out myself. There's so many different things he could do, but none of them seem good.
This is such a strategic game, especially by Byun. Getting his own base in the middle of the map, constantly harassing his opponent's base with those nukes, pushing him out of this position slowly but steadily, and just trying to fight for this second expansion in the middle of the map. And now he has it. And now Hero is more on a clock than he was ever before in this game.
Exactly. He has to even look at that. The EMPs are basically erasers. I feel like if he hits a few more EMPs, the army's just going to disappear.
Hero has to do something. He can't allow Byun to mine from this location. He can't allow Byun to get more gas. He's moving in now. Can he take this fight? The EMPs are everywhere. The Vikings moving into position, dodging the storm, trying to have another shot at those carriers, and of course also the Colossi. Here come the mules.
He's just trying to bait the Vikings into storms, but Byun is not going to have it. And even if he baits them in, he's not going to lose any Vikings. Then he repairs them.
Hero is running out of time, and Byun is pushing his way forward with additional nukes.
We've hit the 1 hour mark in the game, by the way.
What was the record for the longest game in the GSL?
I think an hour and 6 minutes or something like that, so we're getting close.
We're getting really close. 3 more nukes are being built. We have more Vikings. Look at the supply though. 150. The problem for Hero still is that all his Vespene carriers are depleted. There is no mining for him anymore. He has a couple of mineral patches that he can harvest from, but he doesn't need minerals. He needs gas. He's moving in, trying to take down the planetaries. That doesn't even do anything. The only thing that this will accomplish is that Byun is a bit more open, that he can start to attack his production, but the base itself has been mined out a long time ago.
Yeah, it's just a positional attack here.
He can mine gas, but the problem is that he has 4,000. He doesn't need it.
Planetary barely survives here, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter positionally, but it doesn't matter mining-wise, like you said. But the thing is, Hero is here to try to get an angle. He's not here to stop mining. He's so desperate. Both of these geysers have about 1,000 gas in them, so maybe Hero can start mining those. Oh, this is so smart.
Nice.
Now he runs in and takes this base while Byun is out of position. This is all that Hero can hope for.
He's going in and he takes down the second planetary.
He wants a Vortex on those Vikings as well, as if he can get one.
You know what I would have really liked to see a little bit earlier? The mothership being used for a recall. He could have tried to get into a position to snipe these bases a bit faster. The mothership in the fight itself didn't really do anything because of all these EMPs and the Vikings being in a very good position. But maybe with recalls he could have tried to use those carriers to move in, snipe a couple of buildings, and then just recall them back.
Now Hero is literally out of gas. He's got 33. You can't build any units with that.
Another big problem for Hero is that Byun does not hesitate to drop mules and repair his Vikings. He takes always a little bit of damage with the Vikings as soon as those High Templars get close enough. But once again, we have him dropping mules, repairing the Vikings, getting with another orbital from his main base into this bottom center location.
I think Byun is just going to wait until Hero attacks into him because he doesn't have to do anything else. And
yeah.
we might, and well, the thing is, I think Hero is thinking the same thing. He's thinking, I'm going to wait for him to attack into me. Here's the income.
Mining still for Hero. And this is, you're so right about what you just said. Hero has to finally fight. We've been talking about this for a long time now, but Byun knows this. And this is why Byun doesn't attack. Byun is like, this is my game to lose. If you are just sitting there and waiting, I will win this. I have more and more resources. I will be in a good position. I can use my nukes to push you further back. If you don't attack, I will take this game. And Hero is now in the position where he decides to finally go for it.
Yeah, he starts to pick off his planetaries. I think he wants to bait Byun into an engagement that's more favorable for him. But Byun has the same attitude. But because Byun has those resources you were talking about, Byun can just sit back. Hero, every time he attacks like that, and even, yeah, he killed all those turrets, he didn't lose any carriers, but he lost interceptors. And even that starts to deplete his minerals. He's down to 2,000 now.
I want to see Byun to max out with army supply. He's at 192 army supply. He doesn't have a single SCV anymore. He's completely relying on the mules, and of course with all the mineral patches gone except for the ones at the bottom center, he doesn't really need SCVs. So if he maxes out an army supply, this would be the first time that I see a player with 200 army supply.
Yeah, same here. And I think he'll do it. Well, he starts one more SCV.
Okay, now that's just taunting me.
He probably just wants to build some sensor towers with that.
He's trolling now.
Yeah. I guess he could make some more planetaries with it as well.
The sensor turrets would make a lot of sense. The planetaries as well. If he gets a few command centers to get forward, to just stabilize.
You can't build structures with mules, not yet.
Yeah, they're working on it, but
well, Hero is significantly behind. He's trying to find any angle he can get. Look at all the scans we have here. That observer is gone. Cannot afford to lose a single stalker in a fight like this.
He's building more Vikings now. He's at
trying to sneak in, but he gets EMP'd and sniped.
45 Vikings, and he's getting more of them. The army supply is now at 194. This is the most army supply that I've ever seen a player use in my entire casting career. Look at this map. Everything is mined out except for this base at the bottom. We have a couple of mineral patches, I feel, in the center. But that's it. Yeah,
and this base is actually down to each mineral patch about half minerals. And I mean, if you want to be a stinger for rules, we could, if this base is really out of minerals, we could say the whole map is mined out. Some people might say, well, there are a few patches in the main, but...
Guys, at this point, really, send us a tweet at ProxyWolf and at Caldo and tell us what was the longest game in the history of the GSL, because with 106 minutes, 107 approaching, I feel we have a new record.
I think we may, man.
I want to check this out after the cast, so send us the information if you have it. Here comes Hero once again. He's at 126 supply. He doesn't have any gas left, only 33. Can't build anything with that. He couldn't even buy chewing gum with 33.
No.
What can you do with 33 gas?
You can't even buy an observer, man. Yeah. You can repair something that if you're a Terran player with the gas that you have, but that's all you can really do. You could make a tech lab, but he's Protoss also, so that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Could make a Baneling, but you know, yeah.
197 army supply for Byun, and he gets those missile turrets against the interceptors. Hero is at a loss here. He's trying to find out what to do. He knows that he should have attacked earlier, but now he's in this position and he can't change it anymore. Will he go for recalls? Will he try to move in, do a bit of damage, and now use the mothership that he just positioned at the bottom right to have the recall opportunity?
I don't think Hero can win any fight that he goes forward to take. He can only hope for Byun to attack him and get perfect storms or a perfect vortex. If he is the attacker, he will never win a fight. And I think he knows that. And Byun knows that too, so Byun's like, well, I'm just going to sit here. I don't think we're going to have a stalemate or anything like that where neither player attacks each other like we've seen in Brood War, but...
What's going to happen here is that Byun is going to mine out everything, and if at this point Hero still didn't attack,
he's going to make a bunch of barracks.
Byun will start to take the offensive.
Yeah, and he can make 12 barracks as well, so he can have 12 more Marauders or whatever he wants to build whenever the attack is done, even if Hero beats his army or does okay against it, which seems very unlikely at this point considering Hero's composition. Byun does not want to leave anything to chance, though. That's why he hasn't attacked yet. He knows, like you said, he's just going to keep mining. Both players will have a massive defender's advantage.
Yep. 1 hour and 9 minutes now.
Stalkers blink down. They're trying to get an angle here, but they
By the way,
can't.
I think I beat you earlier in the math problem. I said, I think I said we are at 100 minutes and 6 or 5 or what was it at that time. And that's of course an hour and 6 minutes. So today you can make fun of me, Wolf.
All right, I'll tease you, man. I remember what I said about time earlier. I don't wear a watch.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing.
Yeah,
here.
you're the time master. You have to teach me. Share your wisdom.
Well, right now we're at a minute. Oh my god, I screwed up. Oh my god, I don't know.
Well, I take everything back. Okay.
We're at 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 10 seconds, and
we will have the
I'm pretty sure we have the record now. Yeah.
Very soon.
Screenshot that. I think we actually have the record now. I don't think anyone's ever gone to an hour 10.
And Byun is just mining. Byun is just mining, and this is one of those occasions when I really want to see how much did those players mine over the entire duration of the game, because that would be very interesting now.
Spending tab for economy for Byun is at 20,000 nearly. Economy for Hero is at 13,000.
Look at the army. 54,000 against 47,000.
Yeah, and resources lost, we have nearly 100,000 lost between the two of them, but Byun at 50 or 40 lost and Hero.
Hero just added a War Prism, and the only reason why I can see him go for a War Prism is to go for the DT, for the High Templar drop and warp in Zealots. That's the only thing that he can do anyways with all the minerals that he has. This is 16 Zealots that he can warp in at some point, and you said he had how many against? 20, 24? Something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
So one warp in will completely deplete his minerals.
I think.
And talking about the minerals, look at the money for Byun. 11,000 minerals and 3,000 gas. He's maxed out now. He has 199 army supply.
That one SCV just in case, you know.
One SCV just in case. He has to hide a building somewhere.
And, Hero starts to lose a Stalker. That's not acceptable. His Stalker's, by the way, still low on hit points. There's a turret ring in the main base, not to mention all the Vikings.
Yeah, he cannot go in there with the Warp Prism. He has to find a different angle. He tried several times to go to the bottom left with the Warp Prism, and it never works.
Alright, the rocks are being destroyed in the middle of the map.
1 hour and 12 minutes. We actually missed the 1-1-1-1-1-1.
That's fine. Somebody, I'm sure, took a picture of it. Just like when it was 12-12-12. I didn't take a picture of that. I don't have a clock.
Yeah, you don't need one.
I don't need one, man.
Talked about this
I don't wear
2 days
watches.
ago.
I save my clock on my phone. Now,
you know, actually, with the supply advantage this huge for Byun and also this money, I feel like a little bit we're not playing StarCraft anymore. This is Mortal Kombat, and we are just there and watching at the finishing move screen.
Basically. And Byun has to decide how to kill him. He's like looking up combos online right now. He's like all tabbed. He's like, what's the coolest way for me to finish? He's like texting his friends, he's like, how should I kill him? And Hero's like sitting there going, alright, how can I defend this and maybe get the perfect storms and the perfect vortex to get the Archons in and then warp in the Zealots at the right angle and then hope I can deal with all the units that come out of this bank.
Perfect storms, perfect vortex. If he needs to really crush this army, even if he trades just cost efficiently, it won't help him because Byun is going to just rebuild his army within a second and Hero can't get anything. He's still lacking the gas. And he completely abandoned his mission to get the expansion in the middle of the map, in the center, at the bottom. So what can he do?
By the way, one thing he could do is take these two Vespene geysers that are
in
on the right side of the map. They have about 2,000 gas in them in total. That's something he could do that I guess he just hasn't thought about because he has control over that base. You would have to spend 400 minerals on the Nexus, though. He could long distance mine. He would have to make the assimilators as well. It's 150 more minerals.
Yep.
In this situation, every mineral counts.
He only has one probe. That's his biggest problem.
Oh, that's very true.
So he can't really go for long. Well, he could, but it's going to take quite a while. We're going to sit here for another hour if he wants to deplete those two Vespene geysers with only one probe and long distance mining.
Yeah. This Zealot is dead. Hero. Maybe I'll get him to use all of his energy. I don't think so. I wonder how many Manor Mules we're going to see when this game ends. Oh, nice. Takes off a Viking. That may be the only unit he's able to kill for the rest of this game. One Marauder is made for Byun to replace the Viking.
Just for show.
Yeah.
It's the only Marauder in the mix.
Exactly. The only one.
I am actually wondering what exactly Byun is waiting for. Yes, if he is too aggressive, if he overextends himself, runs into storms, then it might get nasty. But with the nukes that he has and a 13,000 mineral bank and the gas that he mined, he can just nuke his way forward and just back Hero into a corner. And that's something that he doesn't do. He's still mining from the bottom center base and is apparently quite happy with his position. I mean, I know I would be, but at some point he has to finish the game.
Just like L, man, he doesn't leave anything to chance. He's considered every possibility here.
True.
And this base is almost mined out. Then we'll have basically no minerals left on the map.
Field depleted.
Here comes the first nuke. He's starting it. He's not mined all the gas here, by the way. There's 2,000 gas on one geyser. So he could actually make more nukes easily with 3,000 gas already, not counting the gas he could mine.
You know, I can tell you one thing, Wolf. If now suddenly we have a pop-up waiting for a server, I'm gonna shoot someone.
Please don't shoot me. Well,
then I will start shouting, "We need land."
He killed a Marine here with his Stalkers. Byun killed some cannons, I guess, with that nuke, but he has not since pushed forward at all. Those are the ghosts moving out. And it looks like Byun may actually attack. He loses 2 Marines, and this is what Hero is hoping for. That's why he's got this 1 Templar here.
And we were told that apparently the longest game in GSL history so far was 1 hour and 13 minutes, Ryung versus Cold on Daybreak. Daybreak is also the map that we are witnessing here, and we are already at 1 hour and 18 minutes, approaching an hour and 20, while Byun is still deciding on how exactly to take out Hero.
Why doesn't he start nuking those cannons, I wonder? You could try to bait the Templar and snipe them, and then take an even better lead.
I'm not quite sure.
Byun is being too cautious here.
We don't even have observers anymore.
That's very true.
So there's no detection.
He can't afford to make even 1. There's no way for him to get an observer out unless he takes those geysers I was talking about, which I think he finally might. This is he takes the last mineral, the last mineral patch there. But those geysers that we just saw on screen actually do have a lot of gas in them, and Hero could be mining from those. He would have to make a few more probes.
Another Stalker dies, and every single unit that Hero loses is gonna hurt him. He's not in a position where he can afford to lose anything. He needs army supply, but what are those Stalkers gonna do? Snipe a ghost? As if Byun would care about a ghost. He can snipe like 12 of them and he could still rebuild them without a problem at all. He's mining out everything he wants to mine out the map. That's really Byun just trying to be in a position where he can later tell his fans, do you remember the game when I mined out Daybreak?
There are literally 945 minerals left on the map in total. I counted them all. And I did the math right. 945. And
you
now
probably didn't.
915 because that mule just returned some. I swear I did it. I actually triple checked it.
Let's just say not a lot.
There's not a lot, man, and there's about to be 0.
Is that the last mineral patch?
There's one patch in the main base of Byun that has 505 minerals, so that'll probably never get mined.
Ah, here comes another storm, a double storm.
1 hit point left on that Templar. He's gonna get some of these medevacs. It's gonna force more units to be made.
Yeah.
But I guess that 505 mineral patch in Byun's main base is like his rainy day fund, just in case. He's like, you know, you never know.
You know, the only reason why I can see that he did not mine that is you can't see it on the minimap. Well, you can, but it's surrounded by red dots, so I feel he just overlooked it.
Yeah, I think that's the reason.
More and more ghosts are now being started, 5 in total. He's going back up to 198 army supply. He had 199 earlier. Did he build a second SCV? Yeah, he did.
It's he's mining double at the gas. That's to the base that Hero could never take from him.
Scans. He can, of course, now at this position use all the energy on those command centers, on those orbitals for scans, so that he has the perfect vision on the map.
Another scan goes down. And here we go. It looks like Byun might actually finally take a real engagement. He wants to kill that War Prism. Byun's like sitting in his booth. You're sorry, man. He wants to be known as playing the longest game. He's like, I'm not sure. Was it 120 or 130? He's like, if it's 140, I guess I might as well be in the game for 20 more minutes.
He probably tapped out and is playing Flash Tetris at this one time.
Yeah,
just listening to the sound in the background. He activates the sounds in background option, and then he's like, oh, what? Something's happening. I'm being attacked. Okay, tapping in.
He usually EMPs all of Hero's units and then goes back. Well, at this point, I have to say, I feel Hero here. I know what he's waiting for. He's hoping to get the perfect engagement, but
Okay, all jokes aside, right now, this is the smartest play by Byun ever. I mean, we are joking about this a little bit because he's really dragging it out, but how positional he actually approached this game was really great. His nukes the entire time, making sure the Hero couldn't mine from the center bases, took his own center base and then forced Hero back, took the position. Hero always in this situation where he didn't know, do I really want to fight him right now? I could, but do I want to? He was already low on gas, he didn't max out, he was at 150 supply because he knew that he was very limited. So it was very difficult for him to just find this one time where he really started to attack. It was basically just Byun bringing him into a position where Hero was like, I'll just wait for another minute and have a look, for another minute. And then he loses a couple of units here, he loses a small position there. Yeah. Byun forces him back a bit more with those nukes, and then suddenly Hero found himself 80 supply down.
He's making the gas. Oh, he got scanned!
Gets scanned and moves back.
Byun's just checking that base over and over again. Are you mining gas from there? Because I want all the gas. Byun is like an angry corporation that thinks everything belongs to him. Looking at Byun's vision, I mean, he has so much of it. He doesn't really leave much chance. There's that assimilator going down. He finally decides to take it. And the gas, or the minerals in the main base is being mined by mules.
He's mining it?
Yeah, but it's taken him forever, but it's down to 385, and it's the second to last mineral patch. The last 85 minerals right here as well are being mined.
Okay, I have to applaud both players here. Hero and Byun are definitely setting a record, not only in time, but also in mining.
And Byun is finally starting the nukes. He's going to move forward here. And if he kills this Nexus, that gas mining is not going to occur.
Ages ago, I casted a game between Liquid Hey Pro and a Korean, I think it was a Terran player on Metalopolis, and they mined out Metalopolis, but I have never seen Daybreak completely mined out, and they are mining everything. The bank for Byun now at 13,000 minerals, 3,000 gas. The patches at the center map are gone. The only mineral patch that is left in this entire game is the one in the main base, and he has only 325 minerals left. Nice. Do you think that this is the cue for Byun to attack as soon as he mined it out?
I guess so, man. He's sneaking these ghosts over here. He's going for an assassination mission of some kind. He's trying to find the most important nuke he can make. He only has one nuke. And it looks like he's going to go for this base down here. By the way, that assimilator was made. Now he finally starts to mine from it, even though it was done for a long time he didn't. I think Hero just knows he can't win this game, and he's just in it. You know, we've talked about how Hero's emotions get the better of him sometimes. I wonder how he's going to feel after this one. 3 additional nukes started here. Maxes him out once more. 3 SCVs, in fact.
To be honest, I actually feel that dragging this game out this long is helping Hero to come to terms with what is happening here. Even if he loses this game, we talked about him being an emotional player, but I feel if this game just drags on and on, you realize what you did wrong or why you lost the game, that you played actually a really good game, but that then in the end, you were a bit too passive, you didn't take your cue to attack. So Byun is a strong opponent. He's one of the... This is like the most stacked group that we have in the entire Up and Downs. So there are a couple of matches that you're going to lose. For Hero, it's of course always a big of a problem when he loses the first few games, because then he gets very emotional. But he is such a great player. If he sits down and tries to just have no emotions at all, leave them outside of the booth, I feel he is definitely going to take one of the top 2 spots. He's one of the best players that we have in this group. It just comes down to him having control over his own emotions.
Yeah, he killed just 3 ghosts, I think it was, right there with that High Templar. He's trying to hang in here. I mean, he starts as Observer now to be safe. That's what he does with his first 75 gas he gets from that assimilator, which is really smart, because Cloak Banshees, even, for example, could be a problem if Byun decided to go down that path. The mineral patch on the main base down to 325 still. He actually stopped mining from it for some reason.
Yeah, and now he's moving in. Now we have Byun moving in, and there they are, the Vikings getting into position. He's starting to nuke with the ghosts. Here comes the War Prism approaching 45 Vikings. That's a really stupid decision. The War Prism pilot should be executed.
Yeah, well, yeah. pilot was actually Hero, I would say.
No, that wasn't Hero. That was definitely not a commander's order. That was disobeying direct orders, I can tell you.
Well, he got one of the Templar out, but like you said, the Prism is dead, and now Hero is losing this base. He's losing his only probes, and his assimilator will go down as well.
1.5 hours. 1 hour and 30 minutes. We're approaching it now. This is the longest game in GSL history. Byun versus Hero. And Hero is about to face the entire army of the Terran player, who's moving in with the Ghosts now. 195 army supply against 107.
Yep. Right now, Hero with 0 probes versus 3 SCVs. He has 1,413 minerals, 30 gas.
I want to see a shot of the players now.
Yeah, same.
Seriously. Production, if we get this chance, could we have a quick shot of those 2 players? Would that be possible?
I would love to see it. Now with the Nexus falls, Hero tries to go around to the other side. He wants to circumvent here.
There we have them. Both of them now at the bottom. Jan is looking really relaxed.
Hero's still moving really fast here. I want to say the average APM for both players hovers over 200, despite the fact that nothing much has been going on.
Hero's current APM is at 400.
Ghost goes down. He has that Observer now. It's really critical. Here we go. He wants to get that Vortex. He does not have any Archons here. Well, he has one.
Here come the Vikings. The Storm is good, hitting all of those
ghosts.
ghosts.
Final battle. Here comes the carriers.
The mothership, and everything is gone though. Oh my god. This is Mule Mania. He's dropping all of them. He was watching that Carbot video.
And that is it. All the interceptors were not enough for the Vikings. He kills every last one. The last carrier falls afterwards. Zealot Warp in here for Hero with the last of his minerals, and the Vikings land.
The Vikings land and they are attacking. Byun is rebuilding his army. He's still at 135 supply against 6, and this is it. GG!
1 hour, 32 minutes, and 2 seconds. The longest game ever played in the GSL.
Wow. Did that just happen?
It did, man.
Oh. Game 1, ladies and gentlemen.
What a crazy game, number 1. And this puts, of course, Byun in the lead for the group so far.
Yeah, with a 1-0.
1-0.
After 1.5 hours, we usually are at the end of the second of like game 5.
Yeah.
I think we are gonna have to take a cab later on. I don't think that the subway is gonna run when this VSL up and down group is over. Longest game in GSL history, guys. Brought to you by Byun and Hero.
Yes.
Daybreak, mined out, except for those 325 minerals in his main base.
Yeah.
He should have just dropped the Mule Hammer there. 6 mules down, pump, 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 one after another, would have solved the issue immediately.
We're in the lobby now, of course, between the Bomber and Genius for game number 2, and Bomber is basically saying that it's finally over, but I gotta say, after that game, I'm in a good mood. And here is Genius, the first time we see the new Azubu jersey. Saw Violet with the older one. I gotta say that uniform looks awesome. We saw, I don't know if you've seen, but they released an interview with all of their new StarCraft 2 roster. And Genius is definitely a fierce player. I would put him as a favorite to get out of this group. I think a lot of people disagree, but I think he's on top of his game right now, and I would be surprised to see him knock it out here.
My heart beats for Bomber a little bit. He's one of those players who puts in a lot of effort. Not saying that Genius doesn't, but I feel for his, like, the history that Bomber just has. It's going to be a great game either way. Both of these players are amazing, and I am just so excited about the next match. We just had a 1.5 hour long game. Game 1 on Daybreak. Now we have Whirlwind, our second map of the day. Yes, guys, if you just tuned in, it's really only the second game.
Yep. Group D set 2, as you see on screen. Genius has had some team troubles in the past. He's swapped around a lot of teams. This is his first Azubu performance. Azubu, a company with a lot of funds. They're stretching their arms out, grabbing onto people in esports. The 2 most successful League of Legends teams, they own them. Grabbing onto StarCraft 2 as well now, and I'm really excited to see how their future's going to hold, as well as Genius's Bomber. A top opponent for him, though. The map is Whirlwind. This is the GSL Up and Downs, casted by Caldor.